We're talking cheese. Yes, cheese. That creamy, melty, wonderful stuff you've probably been told to limit. But the right kinds can be little muscle rebuilding allies, especially after 60. You know that moment when you go to lift something you've picked up 1,000 times before, and suddenly it feels like it's doubled in weight? Maybe it's the laundry basket, the cat's food bag, or even that big glass jar of pickles that used to be no trouble at all. You stand there thinking, when did this get so heavy? Or when did I get so weak? It's not your imagination. After 60, a sneaky little thing called sarcopenia starts showing up. That's just the fancy word for losing muscle as we age. And here's the tricky part. It doesn't just take away strength, it chips away at independence. Muscle is what lets you carry your groceries, get up from the couch without groaning, or open the car door without using both hands in a prayer. The good news? You are not stuck with it. You can push back, and in one of the most delicious ways possible. We're talking cheese. Yes, cheese. That creamy, melty, wonderful stuff you've probably been told to limit. But the right kinds can be little muscle rebuilding allies, especially after 60. I'll never forget my friend George. He's 72, still sharp as a tack, but he started feeling wobbly, as he put it. He was cutting back on foods he loved because he thought they were too rich for his age. Turns out, by skipping certain high-protein foods, he was starving his muscles without even realizing it. Once he started adding back the right cheeses into his meals, he noticed a difference. Not overnight, but enough to make carrying his toolbox up the stairs feel doable again. The beauty of it is, we're not talking about some complicated diet or expensive powders, just simple, everyday cheese, the kind you can slice, melt, or sneak onto a cracker, working quietly behind the scenes to keep your muscles strong enough for all the things you want to keep doing. Let's start with one of my personal favorites, cottage cheese. Now I know, for some people, cottage cheese brings back memories of diet plates in the 70s, sitting next to a sad little slice of cantaloupe. But trust me, this is not the bland punishment food you might remember. Cottage cheese is like a secret muscle-building machine in disguise. It's loaded with protein, the kind your body actually knows how to use to rebuild and protect muscle. And because it's soft and gentle, it's easy to eat even if chewing tougher foods isn't as simple as it used to be. I think about my Aunt Mary, who's 81 now. A few years ago, she started feeling unsteady when walking from her kitchen to the garden. She thought she just needed to slow down. But I convinced her to give cottage cheese another try. Instead of treating it like a sad diet food, we dressed it up. Fresh berries in the morning, a sprinkle of cinnamon, even a drizzle of honey. Sometimes she'd mix in chopped tomatoes and herbs for a savory snack. It became a treat she actually looked forward to. After a few months of making it part of her daily routine, she told me she was back to carrying her watering can without stopping halfway. No magic pills, no gym memberships, just giving her muscle. And here's the best part. Cottage cheese is versatile. You can spread it on toast, mix it into scrambled eggs for extra fluff, or even blend it into smoothies without tasting it. You're not just eating for strength, you're enjoying it too. Because here's the truth, when we actually like the foods that are good for us, we stick with them. And that's where the real magic happens. Now, the next cheese on our list might already be sitting in your fridge, Parmesan. Not the dusty powder from the green can, but the real, nutty, wonderfully fragrant Parmesan you shave or grate fresh. This little golden treasure is more than just a sprinkle on spaghetti. It's a quiet powerhouse for keeping muscles in fighting shape. Parmesan is naturally packed with protein, and here's the bonus. It's also rich in calcium and certain vitamins that help your muscles and bones work together like an old married couple that still dances in the kitchen. And because it's so flavorful, you don't need a lot to make a difference. A few thin shavings can turn a plain salad or vegetable soup into something you look forward to eating. I remember my neighbor Jim, 66, who swore he wasn't a cheese person. Turns out he was. He just hadn't been introduced properly. One afternoon, I invited him over for a bowl of minestrone. I grated a little fresh parmesan over the top, and his eyes went wide after the first spoonful. "What is this?" he said, like I'd performed some kind of kitchen magic. I told him it wasn't magic, just good parmesan doing its job.
The beauty is, Parmesan keeps for ages in the fridge, so you don't have to worry about it going bad before you finish it. And because it's so concentrated, you're getting a protein boost without feeling like you've just eaten a brick. A little tip? Try grating Parmesan over roasted vegetables. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, zucchini. The heat melts it just enough to create this golden, slightly crispy coating that tastes like something from a fancy restaurant. You'll forget you're even eating vegetables. When we add these small, tasty touches to our meals, we're not just feeding our muscles, we're adding joy to our plates. And honestly, that's just as important. And now, let's talk about a cheese that's smooth, creamy, and just a little bit indulgent. Mozzarella. Not the rubbery, shredded kind that hides in a bag for months, but fresh mozzarella, the kind that comes in soft white balls or little pearls floating in liquid. When you slice into it, it's tender and mild, almost buttery, and it just so happens to be another quiet hero for rebuilding muscle after 60. Fresh mozzarella gives you high-quality protein, but it's also easy to digest, perfect for those days when heavier foods just don't sound appealing. It has this wonderful balance, gentle enough for your stomach, but strong enough to give your muscles the building blocks they're craving. I think about Helen, a sweet woman from my church who's 75. She told me she'd been skipping lunch most days because she wasn't hungry, then wondering why she felt so tired in the afternoons. I suggested something simple: sliced tomatoes, fresh basil, and a few slices of mozzarella drizzled with a little olive oil. She started making it a few times a week, and soon she wasn't dragging herself to choir practice anymore. She was tapping her foot and singing louder than ever. Mozzarella also has a little magic trick. It makes healthy eating feel like a treat. You can tuck it into omelets, melt it on whole grain toast with tomatoes, or layer it in a warm vegetable-filled casserole. It's comfort food that loves you back. And that's the thing. Fighting sarcopenia doesn't have to mean giving up the foods you enjoy. Sometimes it's about leaning into them, just choosing the versions that help your body stay strong, steady, and ready for whatever you want to do next. Because here's the truth. Keeping your muscles isn't about chasing youth. It's about protecting your freedom to live the way you want, for as long as you can. And if that means doing it one delicious bite of cheese at a time, well, I'd say that's a plan worth sticking to.